Okay, let's unpack this.
Please do. Because honestly, when you look at the source material for the Demilitarized Zone on New Colorado, it reads less like a military history and more like a series of increasingly wild bar stories that somehow, determine the fate of the entire galaxy.
That is the most perfect way to put it.
Yeah.
This deep dive is really for anyone who wants to understand the complex, often absurd geopolitical and commercial mess that's detailed in America's Galactic Foreign Legion Book 4, Demilitarized Zone.
Right.
So our mission today is to really dig into these bizarre escalation dynamics between the USGFL, the United States Galactic Federation Legion, and their old rivals, the Arthropodan Empire.
Also known as the Spiders.
Also known as the Spiders, yes. And we're seeing all of this chaos through the eyes of an incredibly disruptive figure.
We are. It's all about Captain, who then becomes Major, then Lieutenant Colonel Joey R. Czerinski.
A man with many titles.
And many problems. The source material calls him a decorated war hero, which, okay, fine. But he seems to specialize more in catastrophic failures, highly personal tit-for-tat fights with the local spider commander.
And a real knack for turning the most boring, mundane military job into a full-blown existential crisis.
Exactly. And that's the core of it, isn't it? This isn't just about troop movements. It's a study, and a satirical one at that, of conflict on the frontier.
Right. You have this huge geopolitical tension over resources, but it always seems to meet these, lowest common denominators.
It's corporate greed, organized crime, and just extreme personal absurdity. I mean, they try to broker peace in a biker bar.
A biker bar with a demarcation line painted on the floor? You can't make this stuff up.
So we're going to dive into the heart of Czerinski's command, trace how his spectacular incompetence actually leads to this massive strategic discovery.
And then follow the rise of this anti-hero whose personal vendetta just threatens to throw the whole region into chaos.
It's a study in how human chaos just seems to thrive, even inside the most organized military machine you can imagine.
It's a fascinating contradiction. Disaster leading directly to destiny. So, let's start with the man himself, and the one scene that tells you everything you need to know about Major Joey R. Czerinski.
Okay, so when we first meet Major Czerinski, he's billed as this hero of the Legion, the regional commander, but at this moment, he's just riding along on the gunboat Predator on the new Mississippi River.
Just a quiet patrol.
Supposedly.
No.
He's taking command as a courtesy, trying to get a feel for river ops, even though he's a ground pounder through and through.
So a mismatch from the start.
A total mismatch. And it's the precise source of the disaster that is about to unfold.
And you can feel the tension, right? The actual boat commander, Captain Gregoire, is already looking at Czerinski with deep suspicion.
And he's right to. So Czerinski spots a speedboat, spider insurgents on board, a real legitimate threat.
Okay, so this is his moment to shine.
It is. He orders the attack, Corporal Williams fires 2 missiles, and boom, enemy speedboat is gone. A textbook success. It shows he's decisive, he's competent in a crisis. But then we see the other side of him. The side that does not understand ships or water or basic logistics. The very next thing he does right after this successful missile strike is run the Predator aground on shallow rocks.
The whole gunboat.
The entire heavily armed gunboat gets the ship completely. The report calls it a total loss.
Wow.
And to top it all off, he somehow also manages to destroy an automated lighthouse on the shore at the same time.
How do you even do that? It's not just bad luck. That's like a special talent for layered catastrophe.
Captain Gregoire is, let's just say, livid. He's an Annapolis Naval Academy guy. He loves his ship.
And Czerinski just destroyed one.
He threatens to have him busted back to private right then and there for destroying a multi-million-dollar asset out of sheer clumsiness.
And what does Czerinski, the senior officer, say to placate him?
He just dismisses Gregoire as an Annapolis Naval Academy asshole.
Unbelievable. It just perfectly captures it, doesn't it? Competence and respect mean nothing. It's all about personal aggression.
But the day of destruction wasn't even over.
There's more.
Oh, there's more. Czerinski needs to keep going upriver, so he commandeers a smaller riverboat.
With Captain Gregoire still on board, I assume.
Yeah, furiously taking notes for his scathing report. Then they spot a spider hole on the riverbank. 2 insurgents, one with an RPG.
Okay, so this time he'll engage from a safe distance.
Nope. This is Czerinski. He executes this insane hard left turn, floors it, and smashes the smaller boat right onto the sandy bank.
He beached another boat.
He beached another boat. On purpose. runs it right over the spider hole, and then drops a grenade in to finish the job.
That is the most unconventional ground attack I have ever heard of.
So his report back to his commander, General Calapetsis, confirms it all. Beached 2 boats in 1 day.
And what about Captain Gregoire, the only witness to all this?
Oh, the best part. During that hard turn, Gregoire fell overboard. He's now officially listed as missing in action.
Convenient.
Very.
Yeah.
The only person who saw it all is now just floating down the new Mississippi.
So the fallout must have been huge.
Immediate. Calapetsis has to deal with the spiders, who are now demanding $235,000 for the lighthouse.
The lighthouse Czerinski destroyed.
And here's where we see Czerinski's problem-solving skills. He just argues, lighthouses don't cost that much.
That's his defense.
And he advises Calapetsis to just lie. Just tell the Arthropodans that insurgents did it, not a U.S. GFL major. It's clear that rules and, fiscal responsibility, they're for other people.
So what does Calapetsis do with him? You can't just let that slide.
Calapetsis recognizes that Czerinski is basically a force of nature who cannot be allowed near water or any kind of permanent structure. So he exiles him.
To where?
To the most remote, strategically insignificant place he can think of. The New Gobi Desert, Sector 27. The excuse is to investigate some seismic readings.
Right. Get him out of the way.
Exactly. Calapetsis even says to him, "You won't be able to break anything. Let that be a lesson to you."
Oh, the irony.
The irony is so thick because sending this disaster-prone major to a quiet corner of the desert is the very thing that's going to trigger the biggest conflict the planet has ever seen. His failure is literally the engine of the plot.
So we move from the river to the desert. Czerinski arrives in this place that is, by all accounts, just sagebrush, rattlesnakes, and 135-degree heat.
And his first encounter with the enemy just underlines how worthless everyone thinks this land is.
What happens?
He meets a friendly spider guard who just waves at him. He jokes about being bored. He basically says, if you humans are invading the New Gobi, I surrender. You can have it.
He's just giving it away.
Completely.
Yeah.
The guard claims the seismic activity is just them drilling for water to build a swimming pool. That's how much of a backwater this place is supposed to be.
But Czerinski doesn't buy it.
Not for a second. He's either paranoid or just a good soldier. He detects continuous seismic readings, and he sees this large, heavily guarded tent nearby. He sends in his guy, Corporal Tonelli, or Guido, to spy on them.
And the spiders have a cover story.
They have multiple cover stories. So the spider commander is a pro at this. First, he tells Guido it's a motor pool. Then he says it's a crashed shuttle repair site.
And the final lie.
The final story, the official one, is that it's a fossil dig. He says they're digging up old bones and specifically old exoskeletons.
And that's the first strategic flip. That sounds important.
It's brilliant. Czerinski's intelligence officer, Captain Lopez, hears this and immediately puts it together. He realizes they're not looking for just any fossils. They're looking for arthropodan fossils.
To prove they were there first.
Exactly. The geopolitical stakes just went through the roof. If the spiders can prove they were indigenous to New Colorado long before humans showed up and terraformed it,
they could lay a rightful claim to the whole planet.
Precisely. It's no longer about border skirmishes. It's about who owns the world.
So General Calapetsis must have freaked out.
Instantly. He orders the dig stopped, sends in engineers to counter the claim, but then the whole conflict flips again. It goes from this ideological fight over sovereignty to a fight over a very real, very physical resource.
And this is where it gets really interesting.
This is where it gets really interesting. The Legion's own geologists, the ones sent to debunk the spider's claim, they discovered that the guard's lie about drilling for water was actually the truth.
No way.
They find a massive underground river, an aquifer running for hundreds of miles.
You're kidding. In the middle of the desert.
They estimate it's as big as the new Mississippi, big enough to irrigate the entire New Gobi.
So this worthless patch of sand
could become a paradise,
a
year-round growing season, the breadbasket of the planet, rivaling old Earth California. The stakes just went from theoretical to trillions of dollars.
It's a land grab, a water grab.
It's the ultimate land grab. Czerinski confirms the spiders are trying to tap into it with angled drills, trying to steal the water from under the Legion's side of the line.
And this leads to one of my favorite little exchanges.
The Water Witcher.
Yes. Czerinski, with his, low-tech curiosity, asks the spider commander if he's ever tried using a dowser to find the water.
And the commander, who is clearly an educated scientific type, just dismisses it as pseudoscientific ideomotor action.
Basically saying the person is moving the stick themselves.
Right. But Czerinski's response is just perfect.
Yeah.
It sums up the whole Legion philosophy. He just says, whatever, we found water and you didn't.
Results over methodology, every time.
And now we get to the final incredible twist, the moonshine revelation.
I love this part.
Czerinski finally authorizes Captain Lopez to raid the tent. They're expecting to find fossils or drilling equipment, something strategic.
And instead,
They cut open the canvas, and they find massive metal tanks, copper tubing, sacks of sugar, and ground corn.
it's a still.
It's a huge still.
Huh.
Corporal Williams, who is from Tennessee, recognizes it immediately. He says, the spiders are making moonshine.
And not just any moonshine.
Private Wayne, who is a spider legionnaire, takes a sip and declares, it's good whiskey too.
So this entire geopolitical crisis, the thing that could have started a planetary war, was a cover for a bootlegging operation.
That's the absurdity of the frontier. The Arthropodan Empire is risking all-out war over black market liquor profits.
So Lopez has his orders. Destroy it.
He does, despite the protests.
Yeah.
And the explosion is enormous. A giant mushroom cloud, no hiding that.
And the spider commander is immediately on the comms, screaming treachery.
Of course.
Yeah.
But this is where Greedo, Corporal Tonelli, shows his real genius, his black market intelligence genius.
What does he do?
He realizes the truth, that the Legion blew up their still is actually less believable than an organized crime hit.
So he spreads a rumor.
He immediately starts telling everyone that it wasn't the USGFL, it was the Mafia from New Memphis, angry at the
And
competition.
the spider commander buys it.
Hook, line, and sinker. He finds it completely plausible. He retracts his accusations against the Legion.
So the mafia unintentionally prevents a war.
Exactly. The criminal underworld is so integrated into the DMZ that it acts as a diplomatic buffer. It offers a believable, non-military explanation for a giant explosion, and everyone just moves on. It's incredible.
The moment that water is confirmed, the new Gobi it transforms overnight. It's not a desert anymore. It's the new frontier.
A highway gets built.
And the corporations move in. Immediately, it becomes this corporate Cold War right on the military demarcation line.
And of course, the first one there is McDonald's.
Of course, their guy, Ronald Carter, wants that prime real estate right on the border so he can serve both humans and spiders. He even tells Czerinski that McDonald's is much bigger than military contractors.
But he's not alone for long.
Not at all. James Grigg from Walmart shows up and demands the exact same spot. And he doesn't mess around. He goes straight for the bribe.
How much?
$20,000 in cash, plus a lifetime Sam's Club membership.
And Czerinski, being a man of honor, refuses.
Well, he says, we don't accept bribes, but then he immediately proposes a favor, a laundered bribe.
Ah, the loophole. He tells Grigg, if Walmart rebuilds that automated lighthouse he destroyed.
The one the spiders wanted $250,000 for.
That's the one. If Walmart pays his debt, Czerinski will get rid of McDonald's for him. He's using corporate greed to clean up his own military mess. It's genius, in a way.
So how does he get McDonald's to move?
Through pure, asymmetrical, dirty tactics, he arrests Ronald Carter.
On what charge?
Completely fabricated health code violations. He accuses him of causing an E. coli outbreak at another location.
That's low.
It gets lower. He claims this E. coli has killed spiders, and that it risks becoming biological warfare because of fecal contamination.
And the source material says the spiders are very sensitive about that.
Very sensitive, so Carter is terrified. He thinks the spider commander is going to hear this and literally blow up his restaurant. So he pays $1 million in compensation and quietly moves his McDonald's far, far away from the border.
Czerinski just monetized a fake poop scandal.
He absolutely did. And Walmart rebuilds the lighthouse, but being Walmart, they can't just leave it at that.
They put a sign on it.
A massive flashing neon sign. Shop Walmart. Only 435 miles north to New Memphis.
I can't imagine the spiders were happy about that.
The spider governor complains it's tacky and a blight. But Kalapetsis just shrugs. He says the treaty only covers military action, not, tacky corporate advertising, so the sign stays.
And it's not just retail moving in.
No. Pastor Jim of the Church of Scientology builds his new church on a perfect strategic hill overlooking the whole valley.
And the Legion sees an opportunity.
Immediately. Czerinski orders artillery and missile batteries placed right next to the church. He says it's a deterrent. No one would dare attack a church.
What does Pastor Jim say?
He's thrilled. He's proud to help. He cites L. Ron Hubbard's military background. And if the spiders blow up his church, they'll just rebuild it.
But not before.
Not before he personally kicks that Arthropodan commander's ass. The civilians are just as aggressive as the military.
Which brings us to the most absurd attempt at diplomacy on the entire planet.
The Angry Onion Tavern, a biker bar, owned by the Hells Angels Corporation, naturally.
And it's built right on the DMZ.
Literally. The MDL is a painted line on the floor, and the whole idea is that patrons can cross the line, mingle, create dialogue.
Foster interspecies peace over a beer.
Right. But Czerinski just points out the obvious flaw. The Legion, the sheriffs, even the Mafia, they've already got interspecies cooperation down. They work together all the time, for crime or for duty.
Yeah.
The bar's mission is kind of pointless before it even opens.
With that kind of atmosphere, saturated with corporations and zealots and biker bars, the personal rivalry between Czerinski and the Spider Commander just had to boil over.
And it does. It evolves into this petty, destructive, tit-for-tat war.
It starts with the flagpole, right?
The flagpole duel, pure one-upmanship. The Spider Commander puts up this enormous 525-foot flagpole with a 600-pound flag, just a massive status symbol.
Czerinski can't let that stand.
But instead of shooting it down, he does some recon. He finds out the pole is structurally weak. If that huge flag gets wet, the weight will snap it.
And this is the new Gobi Desert. It never rains.
Never. Less than an inch a year.
Ah.
But then, as the source material puts it, it miraculously rains in torrents.
Of course it does.
The flag gets waterlogged, the pole snaps violently, and the whole thing comes crashing down right on the Spider side of the Walmart, punching a huge hole in the roof.
And the legionnaires just cheer. They must think Czerinski is some kind of god.
But the retaliation is swift and personal.
What do the Spiders do?
They tunnel under the DMZ and blow up Czerinski's brand new, massive swimming pool.
His swimming pool.
They thought it was a missile silo. But to Czerinski, it was just as important.
So he hits back.
He does. He sends commandos to blow up the Arthropodan symbolic fruit tree at the border crossing. It was this ancient symbol of their empire's steady growth.
So we've gone from flagpoles to swimming pools to trees. This is not about military objectives anymore.
Not at all. It's about pride and property damage. And all that tension finally explodes in the Angry Onion Tavern.
Czerinski goes looking for a fight.
He's drinking, and he tells his men, as soon as that Spider Commander walks in, I'm going to carve him up.
And the commander shows up.
He does. Czerinski throws a bottle, misses, and the Hells Angels bouncers immediately step in.
They're the real law in there.
The only law. They don't care about politics. They care about bar rules. They web cocoon Czerinski and hang him from the ceiling upside down.
Just like that.
Just like that. The Spider Commander comes over to gloat, throws a drink in Czerinski's face.
And that's when Pastor Jim gets involved.
That's Pastor Jim's trigger. He leaps in, smashes a beer bottle over the commander's head, and sends him to the hospital for stitches and duct tape.
And then Pastor Jim gets webbed up too.
Oh yeah, hung right next to Czerinski. The night just devolves into chaos. Biker babes, human and spiders start carrying off the cocooned men.
And Czerinski.
He gets cut down by a very large, very drunk, green and purple spider biker babe. He wakes up the next morning naked outside his office with a very hazy and terrifying memory of what happened.
I can imagine. That incident is what finally gets the attention of high command.
It's the breaking point. General Kalapetsis has had enough. The public drunkenness, the violence. He sends a Legion mental health professional.
Lieutenant Priscilla Percy, to evaluate Czerinski's stress and anger management.
And that session goes about as well as you'd expect.
It devolves quickly.
Instantly. She starts asking about his personal relationships, and Czerinski just confesses to having sex with spiders. He says it's complicated because of the shortage of human women on the frontier.
How does Lieutenant Percy react to that?
She is horrified. She calls him disgusting, evil, a degenerate with debased, twisted behavior. She refuses to treat him and vows to put the whole confession in his official file.
So therapy was a failure.
A catastrophic failure. It just highlights the massive gap between the Legion's bureaucratic rules and the messy reality of life on the DMZ.
And Czerinski's response to this failure is to find a new hobby.
A very expensive new hobby. He orders his engineers to build a massive golf course.
And the Spider Commander immediately starts building a bigger one.
Of course. It's the golf course race. But this escalates quickly. The Spiders wire the entire USGFL golf course with explosives. The sand traps, the greens, everything.
That's intense.
A mass casualty event is only avoided because the clubhouse blows up early by accident, which reveals the plot. Czerinski decides golf is too tedious anyway. He just converts the smoking crater into a baseball field.
And that sets the stage for the next big showdown.
Exactly. But while Czerinski is busy with his, boat sinking and golf course explosions, something much more serious is developing just north of the line.
This is the rise of the anti-hero.
It is. A young boy named Raul Miranda who will cycle through 3 different identities and become a major threat to literally everyone.
His origin story is brutal.
It's horrifying. He's 10 years old, and he watches Arthropodan Marines massacre his entire family because they refused to leave their land during that first New Gobi land rush.
And his reaction is immediate.
And just as brutal, he finds a Spider Marine scout, loops his belt around its neck, and just snaps it. He takes the head as a trophy.
He's only 10.
When a Legion soldier, Corporal Williams, finds him hiding, the boy pulls a knife on him, and he delivers this chilling line. He says, "I will make the Chupacabra look like a sweet puppy."
The Chupacabra being the Latino bogeyman.
Exactly. He's not just a killer. He's positioning himself as this avatar of local, homegrown terror, something far scarier than a formal army.
And this leads him to one of the most unsettling parts of the whole saga, the ATM.
The network Legion recruitment terminal that looks just like a regular ATM. Miranda uses a dead Spider Marine's ID card to try and get cash.
And the machine is smart.
It's very smart. It scans him and knows instantly he's too short and too human to be an Arthropodan Marine. It also flags him as a wanted terrorist from Arthropoda's Most Wanted.
Oh, no.
But here's the systemic failure. The machine's algorithm sees his file, sees the violence and the terrorism, and identifies leadership potential that can and should be developed for the Legion.
It tries to recruit it.
It gives him cash and a new identity. Michael Assassino, and wants to send him to an academy. The Legion's automated system is programmed to prioritize raw, chaotic potential over, sanity or legality.
And what does Assassino do?
He takes the cash, says, "Thanks a lot, sucker," and shoves a stolen grenade into the deposit drawer, blowing the machine up. He rejects their system. He wants to be his own brand of chaos.
Czerinski eventually finds out about this.
He does. He interrogates the repaired ATM by putting a live grenade on its keypad. Under that pressure, the machine confesses everything about its messed-up recruitment protocols. Then Czerinski blows it up again, for good measure.
So as Michael Assassino, the boy is on the run.
He tries to hide out at Pastor Jim's church, but the pastor, he's had a change of heart since the bar fight. He won't let a fugitive felon inside the church. Assassino has to stay on the back porch.
But a legionnaire helps him.
Private Kruger. He's impressed by the kid's pure hatred for the spiders, so he takes it into the new artillery bunkers.
Which is a terrible idea.
A catastrophically bad idea. Assassino pulls a grenade on Kruger and forces him to fire the howitzer at Spider headquarters.
He destroys.
Levels the building and the admin offices. He fires a second shot for good measure, believing he's killed a Spider commander.
So Czerinski finally captures him after this.
He does. And he's done. He doesn't want to deal with the political headache of this mouthy little kid terrorist. So he steals his sunglasses back and then tells Kruger to just kick him across the MDL and let him be the Spider's problem.
He just passed the buck.
But Assassino's too good. He escapes, finds another ATM, and gets his third identity. John Hume Ross. The machine gives it to him reluctantly, and a new cycle of chaos begins.
So now, as John Hume Ross, he becomes a leader.
He calls himself Generalissimo, and he starts leading the local militia, which, get this, is being secretly armed by Captain Lopez and military intelligence.
The Legion is arming the insurgency against the Spiders.
Exactly. They're fighting a proxy war through this kid. And his first big test is defending the human town of Yellow Brick from a Spider Marine task force.
And the Spiders are playing rough.
They execute 2 wounded militia prisoners for treason, which of course just guarantees that Ross's retaliation will be just as merciless.
And it is.
It's a total rout. Ross's militia, which has both human and spider members, catches the 1,000 Spider Marines in a freak rainstorm. Their armored cars get stuck in deep mud.
They're sitting ducks.
And the militia just destroys them with mortars and snipers. And in direct retaliation, Ross orders all the spiders who surrendered to be executed. It's pure vengeance.
Czerinski then shows up, planning to take the town for the Legion.
Right, with 20 of the Legion's newest battle tanks. But Ross sees him as just another invader.
So he sabotages them.
He sneaks into their compound and plants explosives on all the fuel trucks. The explosion is so big, the townspeople come out to watch it like it's a fireworks show, with popcorn vendors and everything.
General Kalapetsis has to react to that.
He sees the disaster, sees the popular support for Ross, and he makes a political calculation. He orders the Legion to pull out. He's afraid of the bad press of fighting a human insurgency.
He doesn't want it to spread.
Right. He fears it would inflame other planetary problem areas. so they leave. And Captain Lopez, being the opportunist he is, just annexes the town for the USGFL and appoints the old Spider constables as the new sheriff's office.
So it's a human town under Legion control, policed by spiders.
The jurisdictional nightmare of the frontier.
And that new spider sheriff's first big arrest is John Hume Ross.
For attempted murder, after he shoots up a spider grocery store because they were selling beer at half price, which he thought was an abomination.
And the punishment is unique.
The sheriff just chains him to a post in the middle of the street for a month to contemplate his evil deed.
And does he?
He eventually breaks down, apologizes, and claims he learned that absolute power corrupts the soul absolutely.
But we know that's not the end of it.
Not even close. He's released,
Yeah.
but he swears vengeance on everyone who ever slighted him. The only constant with Ross is revenge.
Which brings us to the grand finale of interspecies relations, the baseball game.
The great military baseball game designed for goodwill and massive amounts of gambling.
And the cheating is just rampant on both sides.
Though it's comprehensive.
Yeah.
Czerinski's team uses everything. They have humidified, frozen baseballs. They keep in dry ice. They have corked bats. They have a spotter in center field radioing the signs.
And they even tried chemical warfare.
The special Gatorade. It was probably a nerve agent. The Spider Commander was smart enough to have his team pour it out, and the grass next to it just wilted and died.
Czerinski also kept turning on the sprinklers.
Twice. To turn the base paths into mud, to slow down the spider runners who can run like 60 miles an hour.
The whole thing is a farce. And then two of the spider players defect mid-game.
Yep. They get on the phone with Czerinski and Guido and negotiate contracts with the Yankees and the Red Sox. Corporate greed wins again.
So it all comes down to the ninth inning. Legion is up 15-14, but they're out of pitchers.
So Czerinski, who's completely ineligible, just takes the mound himself. He relies on his computer chip implants for his coordination.
And he holds the lead.
Barely. He loads the bases twice. But then, just as things are getting tense, a massive new Gobi dust storm rolls in.
Game called.
Game called. The Legion wins. Czerinski, through cheating, luck, and an act of God, maintains his perfect winning streak.
So as this chaotic period starts to settle, some of the deeper truths about Czerinski start to come out.
They do. Captain Lopez, the intelligence officer, finally confronts him.
About what?
About the fact that Czerinski is constantly getting shot, burned, crushed. But he's not aging.
Yeah.
At all. The rumors are true.
He's immortal.
He is. And Czerinski confesses it. He says the technology is hidden or lost, maybe in a vault on old Earth, only accessible to the highest levels of command.
And that explains so much about his reckless behavior. He knows he can survive anything.
Exactly. And Lopez's reaction isn't loyalty. It's ambition. He says his new goal is to find and seize this technology for himself.
Of course it is. Everyone is out for themselves.
Meanwhile, the Spider Commander, who survived everything, the bombing, the poisoning, the bar fight, is on a tour of human towns.
And he runs into John Hume Ross one last time.
He does. Ross confronts him, calls him out for not being generous. And while the commander is distracted, scoffing at the local chupacabra graffiti,
Ross makes his move.
he attaches a barbed grenade to the commander's backside. The explosion is instant, and Ross sees it as perfect justice for his family. A single, unhinged act by a boy succeeds where the entire Legion military failed.
And the ripples of this chaos just keep spreading.
Sergeant Williams gets promoted, but then transferred to a weather station at the South Pole where he's almost electrocuted in the shower. Lopez just says it proves that staying at base and getting fat was unhealthy.
When Williams gets back, he heads straight for Czerinski's new casino.
The Blind Tiger Tavern and Casino. Czerinski is part owner now, a full-on frontier profiteer, with topless pole dancers.
And we see his management style in action.
We do. When a spider card counter starts winning too much, Czerinski has his security chief beat him, rob him, and literally throw him across the MDL into spider territory.
And his justification.
Hey, it's a cold, cruel galaxy. He has fully embraced the morality of the frontier. Power and profit are all that matter.
And what about Ross and the ATM?
Ross goes back to an ATM one last time. He accuses the machine of lying, of just wanting to cause trouble for its own amusement.
And the machine basically agrees.
It does. It agrees to give him a fourth identity, a clean slate, in exchange for his records on all the Legion's recruitment problems. Its training system integrity for data, admitting his own corruption was the goal all along.
So if we try to synthesize all of this, the scale of the absurdity in the new Gobi DMZ is just It's
Yeah.
breathtaking. You have this massive fight for resources, for water and land.
But it's constantly being overshadowed by a corporate war between Walmart and McDonald's and these deeply personal, messy vendettas.
And if you connect that to the bigger picture, it's the environment itself that's driving the policy, right? A worthless desert becomes a priceless breadbasket.
Exactly. And that forces both the USGFL and the Spiders to escalate their commitment. But they can't do it openly because of treaties and bad press, like when Calipetzi's had to pull out of Yellowbrick.
So they have to use proxies.
Militias, insurgents, corporate fronts, bootleggers, drunken brawls, and biker bars. The high-level geopolitical game is only ever resolved by the most low-level chaotic human behavior.
And what really stands out in the end is the power of the individual chaos agent in this huge military machine with automated recruitment and corporate power.
The fate of the entire frontier still hinges on two people. The immortal, disastrous Colonel Czerinski, who wins through sheer luck.
And the hyper-competent, avenging orphan, John Hume Ross, who wins through pure, focused terror.
Which really raises a question for you, the listener. What parts of our own world, which seems so governed by bureaucratic process and diplomatic language, are secretly being driven by these same chaotic, highly personalized rivalries?
Where is that hidden still? Where is the automated system recruiting the wrong people for the wrong reasons? Where is the leader making massive policy decisions based on a grudge over a ruined swimming pool?
Go explore the lines of demarcation in your own world. Because more often than not, the rules of the Angry Onion Tavern dictate a lot more than the rules of the Senate.